Love is powerful. But love doesn't always arrive at the perfect moment. Sometimes it shows up too early, or too late. Sometimes we meet the right person when we're not ready to be loved, or when life simply won't allow it. These 8 BL dramas captured those quiet tragedies, the kind that don't end in hate, but in heavy sighs and whispered goodbyes. Let's explore the top 8 BL dramas that perfectly captured the ache of the right person, wrong time. This drama doesn't just break your heart, it holds your hand while doing it. Mitsuru and Koichi's love is pure and unspoken for most of the series. But fate intervenes cruelly, death arrives without warning. And yet, even in death, Mitsuru lingers. Every scene is tinged with a quiet desperation, as Koichi struggles to keep hold of a person who's already slipping away. It's a poetic story about time not stopping for love, and how love doesn't stop for death. Trap turns crime and romance into a slow-burning opera of trust and danger. Tang Yi is a mafia leader trying to move on from his past. Xiao Fei is a cop trying to do what's right. Their love blossoms in a minefield. Even when they share moments of peace, the danger is always looming. There's a sense that if they'd met in another life, another place, this love could have been simple. But here, timing turns their love into survival. This series doesn't rush love. It lets it simmer, stumble, and sometimes stall altogether. We watch 2 people meet when they're young, full of spark, laughter, and unspoken promises, and we stay with them as life slowly, inevitably complicates everything. What begins with teenage innocence blossoms into something deeper, something more fragile, stretched across years of change neither of them saw coming. The beauty and heartbreak of this story is that the love never dies. It just becomes harder to hold. Work obligations pile up. Family expectations tighten. Self-doubt creeps in, the kind that tells you maybe love isn't enough if you don't have your life figured out. And through all of it, the show never paints either person as the villain. There's no grand betrayal, no dramatic fallout. Just 2 people trying their best, but never quite at the same time. And that's what makes it hit so hard, the realism. Because sometimes the hardest thing isn't falling out of love. It's realizing you still love someone deeply, but the version of you who could have loved them fully doesn't exist anymore. Or worse, maybe they do, but they showed up too late. The storytelling here is quiet, deliberate. It doesn't ask for big gestures. It lingers in the moments in between, the awkward reunions, the almost confessions, the glance that lasts too long across a crowded room. It captures the ache of watching someone become a stranger, while still knowing exactly how they take their coffee. The kind of closeness that doesn't go away, even when distance becomes the norm. This isn't just a romance, it's a meditation on time, on how we grow, how we lose each other, and how sometimes, even when love is real, life just doesn't line up. And that, more than any antagonist, becomes the great tragedy of their story. But it's also what makes it unforgettable. Because even if they can't be together, we never doubt the love that existed. It was real, it mattered, and maybe that's enough. About Youth captures the sweetness of first love, and the pain of not being able to embrace it fully. Yi Guang and Su Qizhang are clearly drawn to each other, but external pressures, family, reputation, fear, keep their timing just a little off. When one is ready to step forward, the other is still retreating. The pacing is slow and deliberate, showing how real love can exist in stolen glances and unspoken promises, and how sometimes that's all you get. It's a coming-of-age story about what it means to want more, but not quite be able to reach for it. At first glance, Asen's love feels like a comedy of errors. Big reactions, exaggerated confessions, and chaotic misunderstandings. But beneath the surface of all that humor is a quietly devastating story of unrequited love, told through Kurosawa's heartbreakingly gentle arc. Kurosawa is the kind of character who doesn't shout his feelings, he lives them. Every action, every glance, every soft smile directed at Haruta is soaked in sincerity. He's stable, emotionally mature, and deeply devoted. He's not asking for anything wild, just a chance to be loved back with the same quiet intensity he offers. But that's where the ache sets in. Haruta isn't ready. Not because he doesn't care, but because he doesn't yet understand what caring can become. What makes Kurosawa's arc so affecting is how gracefully he handles the unraveling. He doesn't force Haruta to choose, doesn't try to manipulate the situation, or plead for love that isn't ready to be returned. Instead, he steps back, not out of weakness, but out of a deep understanding that real love can't be coerced. He lets go with dignity, even as it breaks his heart. And in doing so, he shows a version of love that's incredibly rare in storytelling. One rooted in patience, maturity, and self-respect. There's this unspoken sadness in the way he smiles through rejection, in how he encourages Haruta to follow his heart even when it leads him away. Kurosawa doesn't lose hope in love. He just realizes that sometimes love doesn't align with timing. And that timing can be the cruelest part of all. So while the show dances in absurdity and laughter, it's Kurosawa who brings gravity to the story. His arc isn't just about losing love. It's about choosing grace over resentment, about believing that love isn't measured by outcome but by presence. His heartbreak is quiet, but it stays with you. Because in a show full of noise, Kurosawa is the one who teaches us what real love looks like, and how sometimes the bravest thing you can do is love someone enough to let them go. The 2 seasons of To My Star are like 2 sides of a coin. The first, all charm and chemistry. The second, all pain and confusion. Ji-woo's personal walls, his fear of abandonment, and his quiet internal battles make it hard for him to accept love, even when it's handed to him unconditionally. Seo-jun is everything he could want, but they're walking toward each other on uneven ground. The heartbreak doesn't come from betrayal, but from growth that doesn't sink. This is a story about 2 tired souls, one grieving, one surviving. Jim is stuck in a loop of responsibility and emotional stagnation. Heart is trying to heal, piece by piece. They meet during a messy time. Their chemistry is instant, but their timing is off, because love can't heal you unless you're ready to let it. And this show never rushes that process. It lets them sit in their messiness. That's what makes their story feel lived in and real. In Blooming, both leads struggle with insecurity. One masks it with perfectionism, the other with aloofness. And that's where the timing fails, not because of schedules or distance, but because of emotional readiness. They love each other, but they're not yet whole enough to love each other well. Watching them stumble, apologize, and drift apart is frustrating, but true. Because timing in love isn't just about when you meet someone, it's about who you are when you do. Right person, wrong time. These dramas showed us that sometimes, love isn't enough to fix the cracks life leaves behind. And yet, these are also stories about hope. About how love, even in its imperfect timing, can still be beautiful. Still be worth remembering. Still worth waiting for. Which story made you cry the most? Or gave you hope that maybe, love really does find its way back? Drop it in the comments, and if you want more heartbreak, healing, and romance, hit that subscribe button. We've only just begun.